What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I thought I would start a new series which is going to be called Stories from the Tour. So it's basically a series where I'm going to be telling stories from the tour, whether they're stories about me making mistakes, stories about me doing this, that, the other, anything that's funny that happened, or so basically it's going to be anything that happened on the tour that I can remember or I think is funny enough or good enough to share with you guys. So this story is going to be about Phil Taylor, and it was the first time I ever marked for Phil Taylor. So to give it like a backstory, it was in Crawley. We were at the K2 Centre, and if you've ever been to a Pro Tour, you'll know how it's set up with the individual boards. There's like 16 individual boards. They're all closed off from one another, and yeah, so I was tasked with marking for Phil Taylor. Now, I've only been nervous twice in my entire marking career, and that was once was the first time I ever marked a game of darts. I was very nervous. It was Dennis Ovens against Michael Barnard, and the second time was the first time that I marked for Phil Taylor because Phil's the man. So it was very, very nerve-wracking knowing that I was about to mark for the greatest player to ever play the game, the person who I looked up to the absolute most in the game. So I was so. I wouldn't say I was so nervous, but I was nervous. There was definitely nerves. I was really excited to be able to do it because it was very much a privilege to be able to mark for Phil. So I was very happy to have gotten the privilege. I was obviously like a decent enough referee to be able to do Phil's games. And yeah, so it was about 2 years into my marking career, marking time with the PDC. So it'd been a while, and for anyone who's been to a Pro Tour when Phil's been to a Pro Tour, you will know that everyone watches Phil. It don't matter who's playing, it doesn't matter if it's Raymond van Barnevelde's playing Simon Whitlock or James Wade's playing Adrian Lewis. People will watch Phil all the time because he's the man, right? So that's basically the backstory of it. And right, so Phil is playing. It's the last 16 or the last 8, and Phil was playing against Michael Smith. Now this is the first time that these two have faced each other since Michael Smith beat him at the World Championships a few months before. So this was like a massive game of darts. It's like the last 16 quarterfinals, something like that, and everyone is watching. There's like probably between 60 to 100 people standing behind the railings watching this game of darts, and I'm marking it, and I'm nervous, but I'm doing my best and I'm doing a good job. So in the K2 Centre at Crawley, it was in a sports room, like something you'd play basketball on or badminton on or something like that. Really, really hard floor, and they didn't have any carpets down by the boards at this time. They do now, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is the reason why they decided to add carpet around the boards. It's probably more to protect the floor and to protect people's points, but so there was no carpet on the floor, and that was never really a problem normally, but in this instance, it made my life hell, right? So it's about the third or the fourth leg in, and Phil Taylor's winning like 2-1, 3-1. He's 3-1 up playing against Michael Smith. All the people are watching. It's absolutely rammed in my corner. Everyone's paying attention to this game. So Phil breaks the throw, and he walks back round the oche. He goes to throw again, and I have got in my hand. I've got a pen and I've got rubber, so I can rub the scores off. Right. So before this point, I used to always put the pen cap on the back of the pen. And that was just something I always did, so I didn't lose it. I didn't have to put it on the floor, so there's no chance that I was going to step on it. I just always did that, and from this point onwards, I never did it ever again, right? So, Phil Taylor is about to throw his darts. I've just finished rubbing off the previous leg, and I've put my arms down, and when I've put my arms down, I've knocked the rubber on the end of the pen. And the pen lid has fallen off my pen, right? And the second I did it, I knew I'd knocked the pen off. And Phil's like standing there, he's about to throw his darts. And the second I touched it, I knew I'd knocked the pen off. And then it was like time just went into slow motion. And I knew that the pen was about to hit the lid was about to hit the floor, and I knew it was going to bounce, right? So it's like super slow motion. Phil's bringing his arm up, ready to throw his dart, and the pen lid hits the floor. And then it hits the floor again. And then it hits the floor again, and it bounced all the way from me, all the way up the oche, making the loudest noise that I've ever heard in my life. It was like it was 10 times louder than it actually was in my own head, and I heard every single bounce that went all the way up to Phil Taylor's feet, and I looked around, and it was like, you know, in the In-Betweeners movie, not the movie, but in the In-Betweeners, where they're calling everyone bus wankers, right? It was like the moment where Simon gets that bloke puts his arm round his hand round his throat, and I've literally turned around and I've been like, "Oh, sorry, Phil. Oh, sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. Sorry."
And like, I just wanted I wanted to be swallowed up by the earth. I wanted the hole to swallow me up so I could just not be there. That's the only time I've ever experienced that, where I've actually wanted to be eaten up by the earth. I wanted to be put down into a hole, the hole to close itself, everyone just forget about who I was, and it was horrible. So that's happened, and I can hear all this whispering and laughing from the crowd as well, and it was horrible. It was absolutely dreadful. But yeah, so he's basically looked at the pen lid and said, "Do you want to pick that up, mate?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I'm really, really sorry." And yeah, but it didn't really matter. I don't know if Michael or Phil will ever even remember this story. But for me, it was the most horrible moment of my entire, probably even my life. Like, those few seconds was so horrible. But that's today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. It's quite a funny one. And yeah, so if you want me to do more stories like this, I've got a good one about Justin Pipe actually, which I'd like to do. I think that's what's going to be my next story time. Is going to be a story about Justin Pipe in a game of darts that I marked, and that's a nice story. I like that one. And yeah, so that's been today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Have you ever made a mistake while marking, or made a mistake while calling a darts game? Let me know in the comment section below if you have. How bad was it? Was it worse than mine? Oh, another thing to say actually before I end the video. Phil Taylor actually missed double 18 the next leg for a 9-darter. So it obviously didn't put him off too much. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below if anything like that has ever happened to you, or if you've ever been extremely embarrassed during a game of darts. Thanks for watching the video, guys. See you later.